This episode is sponsored by ODP Business Solutions, built to address all your facility needs. Visit odpbusiness.com today. Subcontracting can be a smart way to scale your commercial cleaning business, but if you're not careful, it can also expose you to serious liability and other issues. In our episode today, we visit with a successful commercial cleaning company who works with subcontractors, and we tee this challenge up with an insurance expert who helps companies navigate risk. Yes, we're going to talk about audits. Jeff and Laura, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to have you introduce yourself, give us a little bit about your company and what you do. And Laura, we'll start with you.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me. I'm Laura Bianchini from Moody Insurance. I specialize in writing janitorial insurance coverage nationally. I work with a little over 40 insurance carriers and help businesses with hard-to-place risks and standard risks.
And next is Jeff, or Jeff Rey, R-E-Y, as it should be. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Jeffrey Upmalis. I sit as the Vice President of CNS Cleaning. We are a commercial cleaning company that encompasses all forms of janitorial services. We cover 49 of the 50 states. My job is basically in operations, logistics, and sales.
Well, thank you both for giving up a few moments of your time today. What an important topic this is. I just have a few questions for you. We'll get your perspective and see where we can end up with this discussion. First one is this. From a business owner's perspective, what are the biggest insurance risks when subcontracting work, especially in commercial cleaning? And Jeff, we'll start with you.
Audits, it's the biggest risk. It's compliance. The biggest issue that we have is making sure that there are audits and systems in place, that these companies have general liability, that they have workman's compensation. At the base level, the risk is fines. That is the first thing that you think of. But the other alternative to this is worse, is if there is an incident on site, is the coverage in place and who is liable?
Thank you, Jeff. Now, Laura, you work in the insurance industry. You just heard what Jeff said. What can you offer more?
I say the biggest risk is a subcontractor not having insurance coverage and finding out too late. You could have a situation where the subcontractor didn't have coverage and the general contractor then picks up the work-related injury, and it could be for them or it could be even for day labor that's brought on, depending on the state.
So we've set up the risks. Let's talk about some solutions. Let's talk about, what does an insurance audit typically involve? And we don't like that word audit, but maybe sometimes we do, depending on what we're doing. And why are subcontractors often a focus during that process? Laura?
Usually a subcontractor will usually write insurance coverage, but they're one of the first policies that typically cancel, especially if they're a small risk. So it's important to make sure that there's coverage in place at all times. I tell people you want to pull those contracts prior to any large work starting.
Jeff, that sounds like a lot of work. Do you see this happening?
Of
course, with your company.
Yes. I honestly, Jeff, I believe I could probably speak on behalf of more than just my company or my industry when it comes to the insurance industry. I find that as much as you can put systems in place as somebody that owns a company, the gaps are very large. The cracks to fall through are unfortunately great. The reasons that lapses happen tend to be an infinite amount of excuses or reasons. And I don't believe there's enough in place that you can put as a company to protect yourself with the current environment that is situated as it stands.
Okay, let's stick with you for a moment on this. With my next point, thinking about what you just said there, then if it's like almost impossible to do that, what steps can you do? What's practical?
So practically speaking, you can have people in your office that pull claims and contact insurance agents before you provide them work, as Laura mentioned. You can perform audits on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis. Anytime they get new work, you can audit. I guess the issue really stems with behind the scenes. It's that there doesn't seem to be a central place or a central agreement in place with all insurance companies across our country that dictates both terms, that alerts the companies that are using them, and that really self audits gaps in either payment or declines. It's at a level that I think not many people realize at this point.
So Laura, with those comments, and you work with many companies out there, cleaning companies, what do you have to say to that?
He's absolutely correct. A certificate of insurance is valid for 10 days, and most business owners don't know that. And that's where a typical problem is. I do say that if you have strong language in your contracts as a general contractor and you're using any subcontractors, to make sure that you're not only listed as an additional insured, but on the workers' compensation, you can't be listed as an additional insured. You want to be listed maybe under a waiver of subrogation. It's so important because the insurance companies only endeavor to give you notice, meaning they can send it, but you don't necessarily have to sign for it, see it. It could be lost in the mail. They just have the word endeavor to. And we've tried many years to have this corrected, and it's it's a no go. It's a no go.
Not a shock
No,
to that.
no.
So Laura, we'll stick with you on this. With all these challenges we're talking about, and maybe some of the impossibilities, you know what you should do as an insurance agent, insurance expert. What role can you really play to make a difference to
I
help
think
business to stay compliant?
Yeah, I think that every business owner should look at their agent as a partner, no different than you do with an attorney or an accountant. It's very intricate of what you're doing. They should know all the ins and outs of everything. Every contract that's being signed, you should actually run it by your insurance agent before you do anything, just to make sure that you are in compliance with your insurance matches up with what you are saying that you're able to do. But the language in the contract also, I think agents can help a subcontractor. There's some carriers that have stronger language than others that they're able to provide to share that everybody is welcome to use, but also helping them understand that at audit time, what they're looking for. And it is true, it's on the onus of every business owner to make sure that they're collecting this information so that they're not stuck with these audits at the end of the year. And it is unfortunate we see quite a bit come through.
You know, Laura, I don't have a company. Used to, but not anymore. I'm a journalist. I have auto insurance and home insurance, and I don't want to talk to my insurance agent. I just pay the bill. What you're describing is a relationship,
Yes.
probably a lot of engagement.
Always have engagement. I always tell people that everyone has my cell phone number. Everybody should call me before they're ever reaching out to their own insurance companies in general, just even asking questions, what if situations. I want to know everything that's going on before any insurance company I was ever told anything. And you need to have that type of relationship as a business owner.
Okay. I'll put your cell phone number on screen. No,
Okay.
I won't do that. Jeff, anything to say to what Laura just covered?
Yeah, no, I agree. And to be clear, we have a great relationship with our agent. Uh, I don't think that's the issue. Um, if you look up, every state across our entire country asks for different things. They ask for different limits. They have different guidelines. Every state. Every state differs on how you can check those systems and balances. For example, in my state of Pennsylvania, I can in real time go on a website. There's a centralized area to check and validate whether somebody that we've partnered with has workman's compensation. But if I go 20 minutes in any direction into any other state line, they do not have this system in place. And for a company like us that operates in 49 different states, that's very complicated. That's a huge problem. And to be clear, this is not a cleaning landscape issue. This is an insurance landscape issue. It is the same with general liability. There is no central place. There is no states that agreed upon uh, certain limits of what is required and how long it is required. I guess the more I dug into this, the more shocked I became of the lack of cohesiveness that this country has when it regards to this industry and this sector of the industry, which is insurance.
As the modern workplace evolves, organizations must evolve as well. They need a partner that understands this new world of work. We are that partner. We are ODP Business Solutions, formerly Office Depot Business Solutions Division. More than just office supplies, ODP is a force for change, helping address technology transformation, sustainability, innovative workspace design, cleaning, break room, and more, making organizations everywhere say, oh, when they see how much more we can do. ODP Business Solutions.
Last point. Let's get into this. And Jeff, we'll go to you first. I'm not sure if Laura will have an example. She might. But can you walk us through a real world example where a proper subcontractor documentation or lack of it had major financial consequences?
Yeah, so you can look this up. This actually is quite easy. If you have a job and somebody is performing it, let's say that this company or partner makes six figures a year with you. You have audited them. They do, let's say, two or $300,000 in business a year with you, and their workman's compensation lapses due to a new credit card that they've just acquired and they've put it in. Now, that partner had no idea, and I'm just saying this is hypothetical. This isn't a real world example. I'm just using this as worst case scenario. If that person did not make their payment, that is lapsed. That is canceled immediately. The agent's job is to notify that company that there is a lapse. That does not always happen. I can attest that that does not happen very often. I would be shocked if it was above 50%. So now your partner has no idea and we have no idea. When that case comes to play, just to be clear, there is a penalty assessed. I believe it's between 8 to 10% of every dollar paid, where then you have to assume those people as employees. The fine is exponential. It's in the tens and tens of thousands of dollars. And the worst part is that it's not just one company fined. It is you fined, and it is the other company that was supposed to have this policy in place that is also fined, which is ironic, as the person that was really liable for this would be the underwriter or the person that assigned this who was supposed to notify you. The damages can become quite excessive depending on what industry you're in or what jobs you're performing. And I believe that is probably the crux of the issue at place, is that there is no system in place right now to validate whether this is compliant to date and in real time. And these situations, what I'm speaking of right now, this one example is I would assume a microcosm of the bigger issue when it comes to this sector.
That credit card change can be an issue. That sounds realistic to me.
Yep.
Laura, have you heard of that happening?
Have, but a lot of times the notices of cancellation from the insurance carriers are going out. They're standard by the insurance carriers' guidelines. They have to meet the insurance commissioner's guidelines for every single state. So when these notices go out about premium due and then an intent to cancel and then a cancellation notice, it's usually a multi-phase system that's happening across the states. So notices are going. They may not be reaching them, but notices are going. And an insurance company typically has to prove that they've been mailed out, but they don't have to show that they've been received.
Yeah, it's kind of the same issue we mentioned earlier.
Absolutely.
You do what you do, but you don't know what happens at the other end. No, good points all around. All right, let's wrap it up. Laura, why don't you give us your final words, and Jeff, you'll have the final word since you work in the industry.
Of course.
I'd say my final word is make sure that you are looking at these contracts before you're working on them, and that people have the adequate insurance, and that since the onus is placed right now on business owners, to check it more frequently than you normally would. And what Jeffrey was saying is very true. Somebody may not know that something's canceled until a certificate of insurance is pulled. So just, make sure that it's in place before you start working with them.
And Jeff, I know this is a passionate topic for you because you work with these issues every day from the cleaning company side. What are your final words?
I mean, if I may, I'd like to speak to three different parties involved in this. The first party I'd like to speak to is our government. This is a major issue. This is not a small industry that this is affecting. This is the insurance industry. This is talked at every political event. Every election, all of us, this is homeowners, these are business owners, these are victims, these are perpetrators. This is an entire industry that's supposed to insure us. I would implore that you dive deeper into this and set up some type of system in place across the entire country that protects all parties involved. The second group of people I'd like to speak to is the business owners, and agree with Laura. It's very important that you find the right insurance company and agent to partner with, and that you do your diligence to set up a system in place to audit, to protect yourself and to protect your clients and the people you partner with. And the third is I'm now speaking to any stranger in the tech industry. This is a huge opportunity for somebody to advocate and centralize such a large spectrum, such a large industry. The idea that you create a website state by state or a centralized system that proves this. I mean, I won't put a dollar denomination on this, but you're not talking to one industry carrying this. You're talking everybody. Everybody in this country would probably, especially the small and large business owners, seek use of
Absolutely.
that creation.
Tell you what, if that happens in the next 3 months, we're taking credit.
Jeffrey, you take credit for that for sure.
Yeah, well, hopefully they will see this. Maybe some action will happen. That's our focus, our goal. So, but Jeff, Laura, thank you for your time today, and I hope you have a great week.